and then he would bounce. So I counted to 3. I said 1, 2. I couldn't believe it. It just happened. I got it right here. It was like the happiest day of my life, man. It was the happiest day of my life. I had hit the giant. And now I must tell you, because of the honesty of this program, that Squeaky didn't budge when I hit her. And she was looking at me, and I said, "You getting ready to kill me, ain't you?" And she gave me the big beat down. But I got this thing called alcoholism that helps me remember what I should forget and forget what I should remember. And what I forgot was that she almost killed me. What I remembered was And so from that point on, I became a boxer. I fought every opportunity I got. When I got sober in Alcoholics Anonymous in Cincinnati, I would tell them all, "Hey, you gotta ask somebody about me. Check my track record. I have hurt people." And you know, you get those sponsors, the real ones, who say things like, "Ew, I'm scared." You know what I mean? And so, you know, and then you get sober a little and you have to, you know, get honest. And the reason why, you know, they called me the knockout queen downtown Cincinnati. And it was because every time, you know, somebody hit me, they knocked me clean out. You know? And you know, so I mean, I've never won a fight. I didn't even win a fight, the one I had in AA. I just can't fight. That's the bottom line. That's why the police are my friend today. And so, you know, I'm at this Catholic school and I'm going through the deal, and my mother comes and picks me up. And by this time, my mother had got a job for a company called Avon, and she was doing pretty well. And she came and picked me up from school, and she took me to our house. Because when we moved to Cincinnati, we lived in the projects. And she took me to our house, and we pulled in, man, and it was a beautiful red brick ranch house. Beautiful house, a long driveway, and you know, everything I think my mother dreamed of. She was able to get that for us, and it was in an all-white neighborhood. And so we moved into this all-white neighborhood. We were the first African-American family to move in here, and so from the age of 13 to probably about 20, I wasn't even black no more. I listened to Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. My favorite girl group was Heart. And the first concert I ever went to was Led Zeppelin, 1979. Yeah, but I have to tell you guys this. I was at the Ted Nugent Foreigner concert, right? Foreigner was singing "Feels Like the First Time." You know, and they were doing it. Feels like the first time. I looked around that Coliseum. I didn't see one black people. I was like, feels like bang! And you know, if you were born around that time, you know we had our air guitars, right? We played the heck out of our air guitars, and so I'm a legend. Now I'm a legend in my own mind. Because I'm the only black person in America going to rock and roll concerts. You see, so I'm hanging out and I'm getting this experience, and I'm no longer black, and oh my God, I hang out with these 5 girls. And man, I loved these girls. We hung out, they taught me things that I didn't even know existed. But I hung out with these 5 white girls. My friend Rebecca, one day we were down in her basement, and her brothers were drinking down there. And her mother calls down for a family meeting. I had never heard of that before. And she yells down the steps, "Rebecca!" That's my white woman voice. "Rebecca!" And she says to her children, "Rebecca, your father and I have been communicating. We understand that there's been some alcohol consumption, Rebecca. And your father and I feel, Rebecca, that if you're going to drink, we would appreciate it if you would do it at home." I said, "What'd your mother just say?" She goes, "Oh yeah, she wants us to drink at home. It's safer." I said, "That's the closest family I've ever seen in my life." And it brought tears to my eyes. let them drink it home for safety. I remember I went home to my mother and said, "Can I have a beer?" And she goes, "No, sweetheart, not in this lifetime." And that's just the difference. That's just the difference. And so I started hanging out with my friend Rebecca. And one night, Rebecca comes over to my house, and we're sitting at the end of my yard, way in the back. And she comes and she's got a brown bag. And she gives me a bottle, and she has a bottle. And it's Boone's Farm apple wine. Oh, for God's sake, let it go. Get sober. And so, you know, I'm gonna tell you something. I talk in my church on a regular basis, right? When I mention Boone's Farm apple wine, they don't have that reaction. They don't react like that. They feel pity for me when I talk about my church. But only at a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous do I say that, and everybody's like, oh, oh yeah. Good stuff, good stuff. Isn't it great? Boone's Farm apple wine, ain't an apple been near it. You know what I mean? And we call it wine. It's amazing. And so she, you know, tells me that her brother had schooled her in the art of chugging, and that you turn the bottle up and you drink it as long and as hard as you can. And that's exactly what I did. And I turned that bottle up and I drank as long and as hard as I could. And I swallowed that, and I waited a few minutes. And I'm going to tell you what. This is my story. It's what happened to me. Something happened at the bottom of my feet that rose slowly. It was heat. It was love. It was, I have based relationships on the way that alcohol made me feel that first night. If you could make me feel like that, we were good to go. We were good to go. I based it on that. Because see, that's when the love story began for me. That's when the love story began. And by the time that feeling rose to the top of my head, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that that was something I was going to do on a regular basis. On a regular basis. And that started my dance with alcohol. So I'm hanging out with my friends and I'm drinking on a regular basis. Man, and I'll tell you what, I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. I'm going to rock and roll bars. You know what I mean? The band would bust out and they would play Brown Sugar by the Rolling Stones, and I knew without a shadow of a doubt that it was written for me. And I danced on that floor, and it was feelings of wonderment, and it was magical. It was magical. And that dance almost killed me. That love affair that I had with alcohol almost killed me. So I'm hanging out, and my dad had ended up getting me a job at a recording studio. I've been singing since I was a young girl. And I don't know, if you're an artist like I am, you kind of wait for the day when somebody just is going to discover you. You could be just eating dinner, and they just look at you and go, "Do you sing?" That is discovery to me. I don't have to be doing it. Nothing. They'll just look at me and go, "Do you sing?" My name's Bob from Epic Records. You know what I mean? That's how I saw it in my head. So I'm in the bathroom at this recording studio. I hit my best Whitney Houston note. And all of a sudden, I come out of the bathroom and there was a tall brother standing there. He said, "Was that you singing?" I said, why yes it was. He said, "I can make you famous." Really? He said, "You just have to come to Las Vegas with me." No problem. You guys are so funny. Oh my God. Las Vegas? So I tell him, "No problem. I just need to go home and settle things up with my family." And so I go home and I call a family meeting, and it doesn't go quite the way Rebecca did. You know, my brother and sister are coming up begrudgingly. My father, we call him over, and he going, "What the?" So I sit them all down, and I said, "I will be back for you. As soon as I get my first Grammy, I shall return." And my father, he kept things real simple. He would just look at me and go,